Hello, welcome to Tiger Ace. So I want to talk about this interesting offensive I happened to read on Wikipedia. It's called the Orsha Offensive 1943. So it was an unsuccessful Soviet offensive, and the belligerents are the Western Front under Vasily Sokolovsky, and he has 300,000 plus men. While Gota Hamisa has like nearly 200,000 men. So you can see like for Vasily Sokolovsky, in my previous video I mentioned him as someone who is a very cautious commander. So he's the kind who was steadily feed reinforcement into the battle rather than just do an all-out assault with all available force. That was usually like Zhukov's style. So he was a bit more cautious. So you can see he provides steady reinforcement. He slowly feed his men into the battle as they are winning. So as for Gota Heinrichs, you know he's a very famous defensive expert of the Wehrmacht. So he's very famous for his heavy fortification. So it was interesting. So in this case, it was an unsuccessful Soviet offensive. So the Orsha offensive. So it was fought in Belarus between the Red Army and the Wehrmacht. So Orsha was the main route junction with the north-south route from Leningrad to Kiev and east-west route from Minsk and Moscow. So after the failure of Operation Typhoon, the Army Group Center had spent the most part on the defensive in the central sector of the front. That the time afforded to them in 1942, a distinct period of inactivity in this area, allowed the Wehrmacht to build formidable defensive position. So during this time, okay, before that, let me save this image. So let's open this image. So during this time was the so this was the time. Okay, so if you look at this map, so during this time the Soviet were carry out their lower Dnieper offensive to liberate Kiev. So the Soviet front was attacking. Well, most of their tanks, their planes are around the. Most of them were in the south, facing off against Army Group South under Erich von Manstein. I should change to black color. Under Erich von Manstein. Yeah. So then, during this time, so this was the Battle of Orsha was after the Operation Suvorov, which was the liberation of Smolensk by the Red Army in 1943. So during this time, the Western Front under Vasily Sokolovsky had, they have liberate Smolensk, Western Front. So the next target is targeting Orsha. So after the liberation of Smolensk, they retreat back to the Wehrmacht, the 4th Army under Henry Sai. So you can see Henry Sai 4th Army is defending from, let's see where is the position. So Henry Sai 4th Army was, where's the position? Okay, Henry Sai 4th Army was defending Orsha. At the same time, 9th Army under Walter Model was defending the area east of Bobrus. So this is Bobrus. So this is the Red Army defensive. Sorry, it should be maybe around here. So this is Bobrus. Then Minsk is this one, Minsk. Then the second, I think this was the 2nd Panzer Army under Wales was defending this area. So this is the Army Group, this entire area is Army Group Center under von Kruger. Then the 3rd Panzer Army under Reinhardt was defending the position outside Poles. I think it's called Poles. Yeah, so the focus is of course the 4th Army defending Orsha against Smolensk, against the Western Front. So there wasn't a lot of information about the Orsha offensive 1943. I might need to find a book about that. So the Wehrmacht has retreated after the defeat in Battle of Smolensk. The Wehrmacht retreated on a broad front to the Panther-Staulen line. So if you know what the Panther-Staulen line is, the Panther-Staulen line It's called the Eastern War. It was authorized by Adolf Hitler to remain on the defensive for the rest of Eastern Front. So the Panther Stallion line is like from here, basically it's all the way until here. Basically it was built on every like natural defenses, like the river, the lower Dnieper River. So this is like what's that called, the Eastern Wall, the Panther Water line. Yeah, so this is like the defensive line. So you can see in the north it was against the river, the choke point around Estonia and Latvia. So it's the river right here. Then in the south, obviously, it's based on it was built against the lower Dnieper River. So to the north, the 3rd Panzer Army under Reinhard tore a defensive line against Vitebsk. To the south, 9th Army under Model was held the area east of Bobruisk. The Soviet Stavka saw the liberation of Ukraine as their primary goal, so the lower Dnieper offensive had priority in equipment reinforcement. So the battle's 4th Army was in retreat. So troops from the Soviet Western Front under Sokolovsky then launched a heavy attack on both sides of the main Moscow highway. So one thrust was directed against Orsha, a main road junction, and another at this, I don't know what is this city. So this is an interesting battle. So actually, Heinrich actually won this. Because I usually thought that he lost. I mean, he lost his battle, but he inflicted heavy casualties on the enemy. But actually, in this battle, he did won. So that's interesting. Interesting fact.